Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Federal government targets 5 million jobs in 5 years for youths. Why banks should follow rules in granting loans to governments. Stakeholders, insecurity still challenge to South-South development. 1,000 killed in 2 days of Israeli-Palestinian Middle East war. Governor seeks dredging of river Niger-Benue to halt flooding. Speaker sets performance benchmark for Lagos councils. Eminent industrialist Chris Ogunbanjo dies at 99. Okay,
so I have the Speaker of Lagos, and I like this one that he has said. So, at a gathering where he had all 57 local governments and LCDA chairmen in Lagos, and he spoke to them. He talked about how they are handling local government. He frowned at their aloofness. He berated the chairman for personalizing the councils and their allocations under their community. He warned them that they should also not create a power block where their vice chairmen are beneath them or subordinate to them and all of that, they're beyond control, or their councillors, everybody kowtowing to them. He said that the managers and treasurers that are constituting themselves negatively. He also talked about how they cannot manage primary healthcare centers within local government. He said it's a basic thing. The primary healthcare centers within local government should be functional, and it is not something that is hard. He said they should not also use forever to do a road, and then the road will not be durable. They should do road that when people pass through that road, they will remember them well. Yes. I like that he said that they will now, going forward, be monitored, and they must work to meet the people's needs and yearnings. The local government has become the most docile of the arms of government. They don't do nothing, you don't feel them, and you cannot even reach out and complain of anything to them, except state comes there.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't be. We shouldn't have a flood in your local government. It shows that you did not check whether the gutters were blocked. No, you just desilting gutters and making sure waste. Or you check markets. Imagine what happened at the trade fair the other day. Yeah. The water was everywhere. Cars were buried in the flood. We have local governments. Before we get to Alausa, somebody is near us.
All right, so the federal government take the major headline. Dr. Betta Edu, that's the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, has put her foot down, saying that it's not going to be business as usual. According to her, she says and acknowledges that more programs will be actually initiated to include education, healthcare, fashion, technology, agriculture, works, and so many others. She talked mostly about the NPower program, saying that there's a lot of discrepancies. Some are being owed, which she acknowledged. Others have been collecting money without actually going to their place of assignment. So there's an internal audit ongoing, and they will know exactly who is being owed, pay them off, and ensure that the program works as it's supposed to be. She said that to earn the confidence of Nigerians in the expanded program, transparency, accountability will be the benchmark. It will no longer be business as usual, as we make concerted efforts to put the nation on the right track, ensuring that no one directly or indirectly unleashes suffering on Nigerians. They assure all the beneficiaries and genuine claims that will be resolved their cases once they complete the verification process, and no one will be owed going forward. So I'm happy about that, and they're saying that more jobs will be created going forward, and they'll be working with other organizations to ensure that these jobs are sustainable going forward.
Yeah, I have Kwara State. So the governor of Kwara State had hosted the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Yusef, and while they were there, the governor expressed concern over the human and material damages the annual flooding inflicts on the country, especially communities living along the tributaries of the nation's major rivers, that's the rivers Niger and Benue. And he's saying that the federal government should expedite the action on dredging on the rivers Niger and Benue. We are aware of what happens annually when they overflood and the communities are affected, and federal government is saying actually this is something that they are working on. They've set committees on it, and this is something that has used to happen, but they're going to start doing that again, and then to help in protecting lives and property along the tributaries.
Okay, so Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, George Akume, explained why banks should not compromise lending rules in granting credit facilities to the federal, state, and local governments. So the senator said that strict adherence to regulations will ensure that monies are borrowed through the right way and for the right reasons. So he was calling on banks to follow the provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, FRA, when considering loan requests from governments and their agencies at various levels. He also admonished them, and it was convened by the head of strategic communications at the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, FRC. And he went ahead to say, and I quote, "The Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 is Nigeria's foremost legal framework for the promotion, monitoring, and enforcement of fiscal discipline. It stipulates in Section 45, subsection 2, that lending by banks to governments on their agencies in contravention of the provisions of the Act shall be unlawful." And they went ahead to read up what was in the policy. So the idea is they focused their discussions on measures to enhance compliance, to improve the nation's debt management practices, and those laws and regulations must be followed so that the monies are borrowed right and they're able to pay. At the end of the day, all the stakeholders will be on the same page.
Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. CBN investigator probes banks over 1.27 trillion naira intervention funds. Governors Labour begin talks over the 35,000 wage award. 1,000 killed as Israeli-Hamas conflict rages. US deploys munitions. Jakba, FGOK's contract jobs for retired doctors. Sanwo-Olu orders demolition of markets built on drainage. Road crashes deaths dropped by over 1,000, says FRSC. FG to grill N-Power consultants plans 5 million jobs. And pensions in 2.4 trillion naira deficit before reform, says PENCOM DG. Okay, which story are we starting
So the
with?
governor of Lagos was on the island.
Yes,
the
he was.
Lagos Island over
His
the
boots.
weekend. Yes, he had to wear boots. He said he visited the Bombata market, the Jankara market, and it is saddening. He expressed sadness over their outright disregard for their well-being and environment and the way they are comporting themselves. The flood, he says, any building, any shop, markets built over drainages will have to be taken down. And he has given information to the illegal squatters that their activities will be stopped, must stop immediately. He also used the opportunity to warn them about clogging the drainage, illegal dumping of refuse. He said, starting tomorrow, today, that's today, Monday, the Ministry of Environment will start giving demolition notices to all the stores that have been built on the drainage. And he said he uses the opportunity to give them 1 week. So you are hearing in the news now. Nima is reading it.
No, it was on social media.
Know that
like this.
it's 1 week. I did not even see social media. 1 week or second is pátápátá ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. Let me even say it for them in Yoruba. Pátápátá ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. That's 8 days. That's the traditional definition for their 1 week. So Sunday to Sunday next week you have been notified. By Monday, they take down all the structures. He said he visited Jankara, Ojogiwa, Oroyiyin, Idumagbo, Belewura markets, all of those places, and I agree. Because if you experience flood in a gutter market or this Idumota market, you will hate being on the island during the rainy season. And it's possible to have it dry. Please extend it to trade fair, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Other stories in Punch.
Yeah.
See how much time we have? Well, I have to go on a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So I'll start with continue with the major headlines. So the CBN investigator, as many of you know, last week we took the story where preliminary reports have been presented to the president on their findings of the investigation on CBN. But however, in this morning's report, there's been, according to Punch report, 1.27 trillion intervention funds still sitting in commercial banks. According to the investigations, they are undisbursed intervention funds. Some of these banks, as you know, Access Bank, Fidelity Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, UBA and Zenith banks, many of them have these facilities. Many of these facilities, intervention funds, were supposed to be for health sector intervention facility, paddy aggregation, agricultural anchors growth program. We always talk about it on this program. They also include micro, small, and medium enterprise development fund, real sector support facility. Most of these funds, according to this report, are well sitting down in the banks. They've not been disbursed to citizens, and that people are complaining that government is not supporting their businesses. Well, according to the preliminary reports from which I'm reading from Punch here, saying that many of these funds are still in the banks. It says that there's also about 955 million for creative industry financing initiative, 8.6 for non-oil exports, so many other interventions. Anyway, we're hoping that as the president eventually reveals the context of the content of this report, we will know exactly what happened. Because according to the SGF last week, the issues we're having is leadership. It's a problem of leadership where monies have been disbursed to support, but for whatever reason, these monies haven't been disbursed to Nigerians who actually need this. So that after the investigations, we'll know exactly who the culprits are, and some banks have already been invited for questioning concerning some of these funds that are in their bank. And even the new CBN governor has said specifically that he has to restructure CBN to focus primarily to be advisory, not to be involved in direct financial disbursement of funds and stuff like that. This is not really a core anymore. That he's going to find a way to restructure it such that they're all on the advisory role going forward. But we'll see how that. I'm looking forward to see that report when it eventually comes out, and then we'll know hopefully the culprits will be arrested.
Yeah. So we know that the Labour Union, Nigeria Labour Congress, and the Trade Union Congress reached an agreement with the federal government to grant a wage award of 35,000 naira only to federal government workers, which was supposed to begin from September, pending when a new national minimum wage is expected to be signed into law as one of the ways to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal. Private sector operators are saying that they are ruling out fresh allowances for workers as a result of this decision. They haven't given details on how they want to go about that. State governors also are gearing up to meet with labor unions in their states as regards the call for the upward review of the salaries of workers in their states. It says some governors have already started talking with labor in their states to come up with a plan and a proposal on how that will work for both parties. Several states, including Niger, Katsina, Gombe, Osun, and others, also expressed their intention to engage with labor on the wage award. So some states, they had to highlight what some of the states were saying, but because of time, I won't go to all of that. Some of the states are saying that they need time to process this information. They are expecting the federal workers to start. The idea was that after the federal government workers start receiving theirs, they will now start negotiating with the states. The states will have to pay according to what they have in their pockets. So that they need time. They don't want to be rushed into that decision. They need time. Different states are saying they are ready, but they need time. They need the federal government to understand that they have to work with the resources available to them, but they are looking towards paying that 35,000 naira,
Okay. That means our relatives are going to be richer. Are watching you. Anyways, I have this story here. It's about federal government approving the appointments of doctors and nurses and then and other clinical healthcare workers as contract staff. So these are retired people who have attained the age of retirement, and if they want to come back as contract staff, they are able to at the salary that they had retired from. That's if they so desire. So the correspondent for Punch said they obtained a circular that was addressing it. First of all, they were addressing the issue of the age, retirement age increment from 60 to 70 and 75 respectively. But the board says that after careful consideration of the memorandum, the council rejected that request. They said that because professionals in the health sector were leaving the country because of so many other issues like unfavorable work conditions and service, and not as a result of retirement age. That after all, there are some states that had already gone ahead to increase retirement age and people were still leaving. So it's not the retirement age that is a determinant of whether people stay or leave. And then they also expressed that they are dissatisfied with health workers' attitude towards work, that in spite of the efforts of government to encourage health workers, the exodus of health workers had not abated. And they said that the government should also engage the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, the Nigerian Medical Association, to extract some sort of commitment from them, from medical doctors, concerning how they're living. So it is now been signed that if you've retired and you'd like to, and as a health worker, and you'd like to go back, based on the salary that you had retired from, you can do that. So I'm looking to my mom. Would my mom find this interesting? Would she? I wonder, really, if you're retired and you're already just lounging.
I think she wants to still
Yeah,
work.
she still wants to work, but at the salary, no.
They should increase it a
Yesterday's
bit.
price is not today's price.
Avio.
Okay, so moving on to Vanguard.
Okay.
107 senators urge caution, rule of law, as Keyamo and Atiku disagree. INEC worried over security situation in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi. Israeli-Palestinian war, U.S. moves nuclear aircraft carrier close to crisis zone. Tinubu snubs Niger coup leaders' overtures for direct talks. Humanitarian minister talks tough, 6 audits of the End Power program. And Tinubu Ogun governor mourn legal icon Chris Ogunbanjo.
Okay, so I want to talk about the U.S. moves nuclear aircraft carrier close to crisis zone. Obviously, the U.S. is not without bias in this war that Israel and Palestine are going through right now. If with one voice they're talking about Ukraine and Russia, and they are supportive of Israel taking out the entire Palestine. So, war started, and I don't want to even take it again. From the angle that this report is in Vanguard, just a moment. This angle that they are taking it from Vanguard is very biased. It doesn't reflect.
Let's see what.
No, it doesn't reflect. No, I'm entitled to my own opinion on the story as well. No, it's not. It doesn't reflect the true picture of what is on ground. They are saying that more Israelis have been killed, but if you see what is happening from those on ground, it is not the truth. But let's just leave it at that.
The human interest.
The human interest. We can't allow killing.
Review,
you know,
to see exactly what the paper said. After that, it's our hot topic. We now discuss our opinion. Right now, what the paper.
I agree with you.
Is what the paper review.
Sorry about that.
Nima is Nima, so calm down.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Another story in Vanguard.
Yes, so I took a story inside. In Calabar, 2 communities, Ovonum and Ofatura, in Obruba local government area of Cross River State, are locked in communal strife. They say it has left many people dead and over 300 houses destroyed. The conflict was caused by a dispute over a parcel of land at their farm areas, and thousands of people are already left homeless following the destruction of the residential houses and farmlands. They said in April this year there was a conflict between 2 communities. That one left many people dead and houses destroyed. Recently, Independence Day again, they had another misunderstanding, and the fight broke out in a plantation and between youths of both communities. They said the crisis got to a climax, and youths from both sides got home, related information to their leaders, and before they realized what was happening, I think it started in the midnight, the community started fighting each other again. It was the intervention of the soldiers that even solved some things. But before they got there, there was a lot of havoc that had been inflicted on them. And so the House of Assembly member representing the area in Cross River State's House of Assembly, Egbe Ebeng, said he had no hand in the conflict, that he's enjoyed peace in the community because of his intervention in the first place. And when he got a call about the recent problem, he had to move quickly from where he was in Yala, having an oversight function down to the community to try to mobilize security to intervene. That the destruction is also on both communities. So both communities are hurting at the moment, and they have to hold their leaders, their obas, the local governments accountable to making sure that there's peace in the land in both communities. It's not working for them anymore. A lot of them have left there to go find a homeless somewhere else.
All right, so as efforts to resolve the Niger crisis continues, overtures by the head of the junta to have direct access to our president, who's also the chairman of ECOWAS, has been outrightly rejected. So our president is saying, according to diplomatic sources actually, consenting to such a direct one-on-one talks with the leader of the junta is an assault on democratic governance in the region and disrespect to the still detained Nigerian President Mohamed Bazoum. That our president specifically has refused any direct contact with Tiani. Also, many have also warned that this could be, it cause an impasse. And we don't want that, although, because we still see that the Nigerian government sources also confirmed that our president's position that having a direct interaction with Tiani would improperly legitimize a coupist whose government is not even recognized by ECOWAS. So it's a really, really tough situation, but the discussion really is for them to still send emissaries on behalf of our president to continue talks with the junta and to hopefully get this resolved as soon as possible. Okay, I think let's just see if we have time for one quick story in the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Wike orders demolition of multi-billion naira property despite court order. Kogi 2023, don't allow strangers, APC urges electorate. Customs intercept 12 trailers of imported rice across Southwest region. And lawyer philanthropist Chris Ogunbanjo dies at 89. Any story?
Okay,
Go ahead.
Should I take the weakest story quickly?
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Or do you want to take on?
Take the wicked story.
Okay, so
more interesting than
there's a court judgment, a subsisting court judgment from April 4th this year, granting a property that was in dispute with the former FCT chairperson to the property is known as Shraddha Nigeria Limited, and that property, they went to court, they got a judgment that perpetually granted an injunction against the FCT to interfere with that property, to lock it down, seal it, or demolish it. But besides that judgment, went ahead this year to demolish it. And sadly, it is a property that is neighbored with the former speaker, Gbajabiamila.
Wow.
And so you know the controversy that will be whipped around on this story.
Okay,
I
that's
hope
all.
that the person goes to court again.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back and move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.